Isabel, and today I'm gonna interview my father. Okay.
What are we talking?
Veterans
Happy
Day.
Veterans Day. Thank you.
How was it joining the Marines?
So joining the Marine Corps is something that I didn't expect. I was a high school student with limited options as far as what I was going to do in my future. Um, just like I tell you, to try to get knowledge and go to college. That wasn't an option for me. Most of the time it was because of money. Because my mom worked hard, but she didn't have enough money to send me to the colleges that a lot of other kids got the opportunity to go to. My grades were good, but it just wasn't enough. So my only option that I had at that time was to join the military. I knew nothing of the Marine Corps besides my fifth grade teacher, her husband, Miss Pendergraff, and hopefully wherever she's at in the world, she's doing fine. Her husband was a Marine, and he came to my fifth grade class in his dress blues. And from then, I knew what their uniform was, but I knew nothing about the Marine Corps. I actually was going to join the Air Force because one of our other buddies joined. He was a year older than me, and explained some things. I said, okay, well, let's just do that because I wanted to leave my small hometown. Kind of like Evans, Georgia is small and compact. There's a big world out there, right? You've been to Washington, D.C., right? You've seen the White House and the Lincoln Memorial. You've seen all those things, right? You've been to Los Angeles. You've been to New York. That's kind of, at that point, I've never been anywhere in my life. But I knew I needed to leave to do something better for my life. So I joined the Marine Corps. And just a funny fact, and I'll run back, is that, like I said, I was going to join the Air Force. I went to go talk to the recruiter. That person wasn't there. They didn't show up. The Marine Corps recruiter happened to be standing outside. He was smoking a big cigar. You could smell the stench. It was real bad. He said, "Hey, who are you looking for?" And I told him, "Hey, I'm here looking for the Air Force recruiter." He's like, "Well, he ain't here. Why don't you come over and talk to me?" Didn't know anything about it. He came in, showed me what I wanted to see. And for me, I just wanted to go blow things up. I wanted to jump out of airplanes. I wanted to do all this crazy stuff, right? Stuff that I've got to do. And so I joined the Marine Corps. My mom signed it. My father had to sign as well because I was under age, which is 18 years old. And from there, once you get down to Parris Island, that's where they make Marines. And once you go through boot camp, sometimes it's not. When you first get down there, you don't think it's the way it is, and then in your head, you're trying to explain, how can I leave? You're trying to come up with an excuse why I don't want to be here anymore, right? Because everybody's yelling at you, and telling you everything you're doing is wrong, and it just gets, crazy. But you endure it, you go through it. I became a Marine, I earned that title, and it's something that can't be taken away from me, So I joined the Marine Corps just to make my life better.
Okay, wait, I have a question.
What kind of questions do you have, Marie?
What is boot camp?
Oh, boot camp. So boot camp, and that's basically where you, a young man or a young woman, go to join the service, right? Specifically for Marine Corps, there's two depots, two boot camps, but we would call them recruit training, right? One is in San Diego, California, and one is in Parris Island. Parris Island takes care of all the boys and girls on the East Coast, anywhere past Mississippi, and then everything else goes to California to train, to become Marines. So there's two spots. For me, Parris Island is where it's at. And so boot camp, they teach you how to walk, how to talk, how to eat, everything. Same thing I do with you, right? Right? I teach you the same thing. So we're almost like parents in a sense, where we have to change a lot of things about young men and women to make them be a Marine. And it's not an easy task, right? There's a lot of people that don't make it. A lot of people that got to go back home. A lot of people just quit. But for me, that wasn't an option. So recruit training is physically tough. It's mentally tough. I would say it's probably more mentally than physically. You have to learn. You got to read. You have to do a lot of things. You've seen some of the videos I showed you. With they're running around and crawling on the ground and going through the mud, and that's what we do. So boot camp is just a stage that says, hey, you have to get through this to earn this. So once you complete, it's 14 weeks. It's 13 weeks of like doing stuff, and then like 1 week of admin stuff of checking out, checking in. So, but then you go on to more training. So it just doesn't stop there. But the boot camp where you're a civilian, which is you, a person that's never been in the military, or what you call a noob, right?
Yeah.
Somebody that's never done this before, they just kind of show up. And so we train them to, at the end of the thing, at the end of boot camp, they earn the title of United States Marine.
Okay. What is it like?
So the Marine Corps is actually pretty easy. A lot of people have a hard time transitioning because you're away from your family, right? You're away from loved ones. You're away from everything you've known, and so some people get a little homesick, right? Imagine if you had to go live in somewhere else in the world and you couldn't see your mom and dad, your family, the people you loved, or everything you loved, right? It takes a little toll. But for me, I knew that my mother's goal was for me to leave and never come back, because she wanted me to enjoy life, don't worry about the things back there, because they weren't doing anything for me, right? So the Marine Corps did a lot for me. It gave me a lot of family. It gave me a lot of responsibilities quick. It taught me a lot of life lessons, personal and professional. It molded me into a better person and better man. But all in all, the Marine Corps it's tough. There's some bad days. You have really bad days, but the good thing about those bad days is there's people right beside you that are going through the same thing. So, yes, it's the Marine Corps is the hardest branch to be a part of. The Army branch, their boot camp's like 8 weeks. It's Air Force is probably about the same, and Coast Guard. Coast Guard is probably one of the second hardest ones. They do a lot of training, but you have your other Navy, and they have their own customs, courtesies, and traditions and everything else. But for the Marine Corps, it is. I told myself if I was going to be the best, then I might as well. I got to go through the best, So it gave me a lot. Gave me a lot of opportunities, and I'm here today with you.
Okay. I have a question about the last question.
Okay. What's your question about the last question?
How do you properly eat like that?
Properly eat?
Yeah, like how do they teach you to eat?
Okay, well, I can show you better. I can tell you. So, in the Marine Corps, right, when you're sitting down eating, get your stomach tight, sit up straight, this hand on this thing. You bring the food from here to your face. You don't bend down like this. You sit up straight. Food here, you look straight ahead. And just keep bringing it. Boom, 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 right?
Yes.
So the reason why we do that is because you always want to make sure you're always looking around. And for the Marine Corps, and I don't want to get, because you're a young woman, and I want you to understand the Marines are built for one purpose, and that purpose is to hurt people. So that's the only reason the Marine Corps has us around, or the world has us around, is because they know when we go out there, we're not going to be nice and gentle. We're going to take care of the business and move on. But eating is something we do so quickly, right? You see them probably just eat and leave, because we don't got time for it. That's not something we look forward to doing. That's not a measure of character. It's just something that we have to feed our body as the machine, and go on to the next thing. Because we're trained to be out in the woods, be out in the forest, be out in the desert, be out in the ice, eat real fast, because that's why they give us MREs, right? They give us these compact meals in a bag to eat quickly when we need to. So not sitting down and eating a dinner like that, it's hard for Marines to do that, because we're never really given the time to enjoy it, unless it's like the Marine Corps birthday, right? So the Marine Corps birthday, we usually have steak and lobster. Everywhere in the Marine Corps, we have birthday cake, right? And so those are traditions we have. At the Marine Corps Ball, you know, they have dinners, chickens, stuff. That's formal dinner, and we also have mess nights. But again, it's more camaraderie, and camaraderie is like enjoying another person, being together. That's what we're looking at. And a lot of people think that meals is the reason. We're not here for food, we're here for the camaraderie. That's why I don't care about eating. It doesn't serve me any purpose but just to fill me up and then move on. You understand? All right, what's your next question?
How is
Where you at here? What are you seeing? Right here. Times of war, times of peace?
yes.
Okay, well, so in 2001, you weren't born yet. 2001. So Poppy was working at the Pentagon, right? That's near Washington, D.C. You've been by it many times. It's a big building. It looks like a Pentagon, right? We know what a Pentagon looks like, right? It's better than that, but we know what it looks like, right? And so there was a big deal on September 11th, 2001, where the planes flew into the World Trade Towers. You hear about this?
Yes.
Right, and a lot of people, a lot of families lost their lives. Right?
Yes.
So during that time, I was working at the Pentagon, and a plane flew into the Pentagon. Now that morning, I literally had to be up a hill. Here's the Pentagon right here, and then I had to be up a hill up here because I had to drop off some records. And where the plane hit was pretty close to where Poppy was, you know. And so from that time, they locked the whole area down. They shut everything down. I didn't get to go home for, I don't know, at least probably 6 days, right? Because the two towers got hit, and one plane landed in a field in Pennsylvania, and then one went into the Pentagon. And from there, you know, I helped pull people out of the wreckage. You know, unfortunately, some people died, and try to help them get to safety. But after that, you know, Marines were on alert. When you do something to America, you know, the president at the time was President Bush Jr. And, you know, he declared war. And Marines knew that we were going to be the first ones to go. And so at that time, everything was gearing up. So one of Poppy's jobs was to load planes, you know. So when Poppy was in Japan, I loaded planes and ammunition and gear and supplies and all this other stuff to get to the people that were actually on the ground. Poppy's job is not to, every Marine is trained to shoot, because that's where we are first, a rifleman. In boot camp, you learn how to shoot a weapon, how to hold a weapon, how to maneuver, all this other stuff. And then you get more training later on. But some guys take it to another level, and they get out there, and they're the ones that are in the war. And so that was a real hectic time because I lost a lot of my buddies. You know, I miss them every day. But it's when you don't understand, a lot of people don't understand what the commitment. Commitment is not about the Marines losing, you know, going to fight. They don't care about that. Marines will run through fire. They'll run through anything you can throw at them. But Marines, we embrace death. You know, we embrace war because that's something that we are instilled in boot camp and all these other measures that they know that we're willing to sacrifice. Why? Because of people like you, people like your mother, people like your family, you know, to make sure that they're safe. So the wartime, it got really crazy in the sense of where we were always busy. The Marines were always out, and the other branches did what they had to do as well. So the Navy and the Army and the Air Force, you know, they were doing their part as well. But the Marines, you know, they were going in there and losing a lot of people. You know, today's Veterans Day, and there are a lot of veterans that don't have arms or legs. You know, they're burnt. You know, some severely injured. Marines and other servicemen. I don't want to take anything from them, but for me, it's always going to be about the Marine Corps. So, but wartime is needed when it's needed. I think peace is just a little bit better because, but during peace we're always practicing for war. So we did a lot of drills. That's why we jump out of planes. That's why Poppy did. That's why we go on these other missions around the world. We go on boats, on ships, and we travel on the ocean. So during the peacetime, you have a little bit more downtime. It's not as hectic. It's not as busy. It's not as demanding. But you still need to pay attention because at the end of the day, right, the president and the House and Senate and everybody else, the U.S. government can say, hey, look, we've got to go to war with these people. And there's already been 2 world wars, the Korean War, Vietnam War, and Desert in Iraq, and all these other wars that we went to. And it can happen anytime. So during the peacetime, you're always on the edge because you think it's going to happen one day. But then when it does, especially at 9/11, that impacted not just Americans, but that impacted the world because it was something that was planned to where it really hurt us, And I will tell you, during that time of after, you could see America really came together. Unfortunately, it's not like that now, But you couldn't go anywhere without seeing an American flag draped or played or stood or somebody, But it's just the certain times. But, the Marine Corps really will give you that when it's time. You just have to always be ready. Do you have any other questions? Anything else you can think of? Anything?
How do you walk?
Oh, how do I walk? So in the Marine Corps, we call it drill, right? So we march, right? That's what you're talking about? Mm-hmm. Right, so the moment you get on, right, you've seen videos that I've showed you yellow footprints, correct? So yellow footprints have your feet at a 45-degree angle. That's the first drill movement you learn the moment you get there, that this is how your feet will be, no matter what. So for the Marine Corps and anybody else is out there, everything in the Marine Corps is always in stone. There's not a question about it because there's always a purpose. There's always a purpose. So everything we do is to get you in the habit, either muscle memory, either some type of, okay, I've seen this before. It's in my head. Repetition is key in the Marine Corps because we go over and over and over because those are things that teach you. And so drill is one of those things that kind of came about to teach discipline, to stand there, to when a fly lands on your face, you don't touch it. You let it eat. You don't move. You don't put your hand up. You don't blow it away. You just let it, hopefully it flies off and moves away or somebody comes by and smacks it off. But you yourself don't touch. You don't move, and so for the Marine Corps, that's discipline, right? And a lot of times you'll see me do that with you, where I asked you to come here and stand there because I want to see what you're going to do. That's how Marines are. We react to the situation. We understand, we observe, we look at, and we try to come up with another plan if that one's not working. So with the drill, it's something you're taught immediately, and it's to teach you how to get around because the reason why we normally do is to instill discipline, right? But it also instills other values, especially when we're moving a lot of people. Think about it. If everybody's just walking wherever they want to walk, then somebody can see that, hey, there's this large of a people right here walking around, right? If everybody just started walking down this path, it'd just be how many people. But now if you have all the same people walking in the same steps the entire way, look how much bigger the path is compared to this. So you're probably using a quarter of the path here. So the reason why we do that is for that reason if we're moving in the sand, in the snow, to be tracked. But for the purpose of boot camp, drill is to understand what you're supposed to do with a weapon, how to march, how to stay in step, covering the line, unison, and also how to take commands, right? Because you're going to have your drill instructors. They're going to give you commands. You know, they might give you something like plateau, hunted, right? So they give you the same thing, so you understand. Okay, hey, this is where you need to be at, and they say it with a rise and inflection of voice. So when you're standing there and you're looking at them, because you're always looking at them, or you're always listening to them, so that you know in willfully obedience to instructions and orders. So when they tell you forward, you know, that's when you're gonna go. But you know, you're gonna hear the the command forward, march, hello, right, love, right, love, hello, right, low, right, love. You see what I'm saying? Yes. So there's a cadence and a little bit of a beat there. So there's a rhythm and the march, and you're leaning back because it's their drill instills a lot of confidence. So especially when you start hearing the hills, right? So that little point right there will give the platoon enough confidence, especially when you look right, you march right, you sound right, all these other skills. Now you don't do it the first day, but the drilling provides you that confidence when you're going around other platoons, when you're going around other companies, when you're going around the island. You know, and you'll hear other drill instructors with different cadences. You know, you might hear I love that right low, I love right love. And then you might hear love, right, love. You're going to hear different people because there's different stages of once you become a drill instructor. On the other side, when you're actually training Marines, which, you know, I did too. But the Marine Corps will give you a lot of these characteristics and ability to make sure that you're doing this stuff. But from the get-go, the Marine Corps will make sure you're there no matter what. And so, you know, for you, if you ever decide, hey, I want to join the Marine Corps, I'm not going to stop you. You know, I'm not going to encourage you to do it, right? Because it's got to be a choice that you have to make. Because if me sit here and tell you, well, you got to be a Marine, 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 you're thinking you have to do that to please me, you know what I mean? But when you join the Marine Corps, you have to 100% have to be there. Just like when you're in American Heritage Girls, you got to be there. You don't want to think, oh, well, I got to do this. You should want to do something before you do it. Wholeheartedly, because if you don't, and you get there and try to do something else, that's where it changed. So, you know, American Heritage Girls or the Cub Scouts, Boy Scouts, wherever you're at in your part, and you decide, hey, I think the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to join the military. Anybody can join the military, but not everybody can be in the Marines. And that's a fact. So these are skills you're going to learn. Everything you're learning here is based somewhere with some. How to start a fire. They teach you that in the Marine Corps. You know how to march, how to carry your pack, how to put in, how to stay in the woods, all these other things. But do you have any more questions for me?
No.
No? Okay, well, I have one more question for you. If you don't have none for me, I have one for you. How do you think it would be, how do you think being a Marine for one day would be like? What do you think you'd do?
Like when the day's over?
Yeah, I mean, no, like during the day. How do you think Marines are during the day? What do you think we do during the day? Just what you know, what you've seen, Poppy, what you've seen on TV, videos. What do you think we do all day? If you had to do it for one day, what do you think we do? Give me a guess, man. What do you do at school? There you go. You learn. Learn how to swim. Learn how to shoot guns.
And one day.
Yeah, sometimes. Yeah. So it's not easy. But I can assure anybody that maybe, I know somebody will probably see this video, but just so you know, it's not as hard as you think it is. It's always going to be right here. Your body's going to quit before your mind will. But, or sometimes it's your mind's going to quit before your body does, because you don't want to push your body's things as far as you can go. But being a Marine will give you a lot of things in life. Right? Even you become an old Marine like Poppy. Because, the Marine Corps gave me you. It led me to your mother, which gave me you and your brothers. And it gave us everything we have. Because if I was still, 17 years old, I wouldn't know what to do with you. I wouldn't know what to do with owning a house and all these other things. So it builds character. And just like your American Heritage Girls, it's building character in you now. So make sure when you're doing these things that you do it wholeheartedly, that you believe in what you're doing. Because one day it won't be there anymore. And you'll just have to remember what you did. So enjoy it and take the time to learn from it, okay? All right, so right now you need to draw a picture showing what peace looks like to you. So just draw me a quick picture and we'll go and cut that.